here we go into Tomb of the Spider Queen. So on the left-hand side, we are going to have number 1 in innovation, and on the right, we are going to have TMG Red. And perfect. Honestly, it was. We were talking. I didn't even consider this when I was setting up who's going to be on what side earlier. I was just like, TMG Red, they're going to be on the right, and it's like, oh, perfect. They're red too. So this is going to be super fun for us. But if you're new to this and you've never met me before, hi, I'm Bahamut. I am an amateur caster for Heroes of the Storm. Do Chair League, NGS, Heroes Hype, anything I get my hands on. Try and get a little bit of casting everywhere. So, Nexus Gaming Series, we're going to have number 1 innovation versus TMG Red, and we're going to have a ban on Tassadar from TMG Red and a ban on the Garrosh from number 1 innovation. I like this. This is an interesting start to the draft. Tassadar is extremely strong, and I've seen him being banned out in a lot of games that I've been casting, to be honest. I see him banned out consistently, so strong. He's a very strong hero. We're actually going to have a first pick ETC from TMG Red. I like that. TMG, or ETC is extremely powerful as a tank. The knockback, he's just so much set up. The power... Okay, I like that. Rhaegar, Greymane being picked up together. But ETC is extremely powerful. There's a lot of setup that he has. He's got good talent variety, as well as the fact that he has a very good variety for his ultimate too. And I guess really that's where it comes into play, as well as his 20. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can, slot, like fast pick, like a Death Mosh or something. That's something that's extremely valuable to a team. Now on the side of number 1 innovation, going ahead and taking the Rhaegar Greymane together, I like that. Going ahead and getting the potential solo laner with their main healer. Now, before we go into this ban phase, what are they going to be taking on the side of TMG Red? Stukov wouldn't be a horrible idea here, and then maybe even locking in some sort of wave clear on top of that. Maybe you go for the Gul'dan as well, but they're going to go for the Uther and Vala together. Now, I wonder... do they go for the solo hypercarry Vala, or do they go into... because at this point, they have a really good draft on the side of TMG Red, mostly because of the fact that they've locked in their main tank, main healer, and probably their main damage. At this point, anything else is going to be supportive, like a solo laner. And they're going to go ahead and actually ban out the Malthael on the side of number 1 innovation, and I like that. Lunar is going to get banned out right away from TMG Red. They are just hard hitting right away, saying, you know what, you take that away, we'll just take out this Lunara. She does pretty well on this map for the wave clear. The Splintered Spear is extremely powerful. I like it. I like the Lunara ban. The vision from the Wisp is good as well, and the honestly, her 20, I didn't see that coming at all. I should have. The Malthael ban should have been obvious, but I didn't see that at all. Tomb of the Spider Queen? Like, come on. Why wouldn't they? Rhaegar Greymane start? It's all there. How am I not seeing it? But either way, these last 2 picks, the thing I'm curious is, do they hypercarry with the Vala, meaning that they maybe go into a Vala, or excuse me, they go into an Ariel with a Arthas here for the solo lane? And then they have the Vala hyper carrying through the mid and top if they do their rotations. Or they can go into still getting a solo laner, like a Dahaka, Sonya, Alarak, not Malthael, obviously, now. But they're definitely going to want to look for... there's the Ariel, and it's actually with the Sonya for the solo lane. So they're going to go for that solo hyper carry Vala. And she probably will be going into the Hungering Arrow build, because it will chunk away Cho'Gall a little bit better. Greymane probably going to be the solo laner on the side of number 1 innovation. The question is, like, do they... I've seen teams not take a tank here. I've seen them not take another heal. Like, this slot is always interesting to me, because it's really what I think the team feels that they're the weakest on, and that's what they're going to add to their composition, because the Cho'Gall if played correctly. I mean, I've casted Cho'Gall games where like there's a Gall whose just damage output is just absolutely terrifying. I mean, we're talking doubling, almost tripling some of the opposing team's numbers in some of those games that I've casted of Cho'Gall. So you don't technically need, and so that's exactly it. So they're not going to go for the tank. They're going to go for the off healing as well as the damage boost that she does provide. So this is going to be pretty powerful for number 1 innovation, because of the fact that if they do get that stun mark onto one of the people, Cho'Gall is definitely going to be capitalizing on that, because I'm going to assume that Tyrande is going to be next to Cho'Gall the entire game, I would guess here. And then you're going to have Rhaegar Greymane kind of... I don't know how they're going to do this. We'll see. We're going to be going into game number 1 here. Number 1 innovation versus TMG Red. So we actually have, on the left-hand side, number 1 innovation with Kairos on Tyrande, Light God on Greymane, Chrissy on Gall, Amin on Rhaegar, and Black Bandits on Cho. On the right-hand side, we have TMG Red with Fire Team on Uther, Time on Vala, Swanky on ETC, Shade on Sonya, and Ezreal on Ariel. Oh, I see, Vern. Okay. So that explains a little bit less of last night's draft. Okay. Okay, so we're actually going to have Lunara going in. I don't know why I keep doing that's the second time I've done that tonight during a Tyrande game. Maybe even more, honestly. But I keep calling Tyrande Lunara. Either way, though, we do have her going into the Ranger build here. Vala's actually going to go for the... She's going for Hot Pursuit, not for the Hungering Arrow build. That's interesting. Alright, so it looks like we will have the bird come out. Does not look like it connects on anyone. Cho'Gall diving in here. Tom taking a little bit of damage. Not just everyone playing extremely safe. I'm just like patiently waiting. Like, where's the first in? Like, I want to call it. There it is. So Cho'Gall going to be able to dive in there. Blaya 37 is going to be diving in there. We're going to stick with Cho'Gall. It's just going to be way easier. But at this point, we do have a rotation into the bottom lane. Shade is going to be going up against Light God in the solo lane, so they are going to utilize the Greymane as the solo laner and have the double healer composition do this 4-man rotation. Now Cho'Gall actually trying to get the push in there for the fight, but it does not look like they want to take it right away. And here is the thing with the Vala hypercarry. The clear is quite quick. So with that, and there's also the fact that in these rotations, there's actually the dive onto Kairos here. Swanky getting quite a bit of damage out. Cho'Gall is going to be diving back in on time. There is going to be a stun, but it does not get connected onto time here, so they won't be able to get that follow-up damage. Vala poking out here. Now Amin getting caught out potentially, but it looks like they just rotate away. They give that up, and they go ahead and they just pick up these... They pick up this top lane gems, and they rotate into mid. Now, it's just a back and forth. There's these teams don't really want to fight too much, it looks like. They're just playing this game extremely passive. At least at the start of this, they're playing this really passive. Cho'Gall's going to dive in here, getting a little bit of damage onto the Vala. There is Swanky kind of bodying a little bit of this, but at the same time, time is going to be... Time is actually going to be taking quite a bit of the bite butt from Amin, but there is the heal from Fire Team as they get back in here. Now they are going to be going a little bit... Getting a little bit of damage out onto Cho'Gall. Swanky going to be in this top lane, going to be pushing this out a little bit here, just making sure that they're not missing out on too much critical experience. It is slowly kind of going over to the side of... This Cho'Gall is getting a little bit low, but they are able to get through the gate. Now there is a little bit of a rotation here from a few of the members. Kairos is going to get slided on. The heal is out. Rhaegar is trying to heal, but unfortunately the Tyrande will be falling to the Vala. Now Amin going to get whipped into the wall. There is a little bit of damage coming up, but they do back off because there is the Cho'Gall currently coming in the lane. Now granted, at the same time, they might be able to turn on him, but he does have a lot of if people stack up around him, he does get quite a bit of damage out, so that is something that they need to worry about. And they're playing this extremely safe. They're going to go ahead, make these rotations, push up the lanes, consistently get the experience that they need, and they're just going to play this game safe here. And I really like that from TMG Red. They're definitely, I absolutely love the way that they're playing this game. Now, they are going to rotate on to the Cho'Gall here. He does get a little bit of a self-heal. I'm going to get that heal out as well. But it looks like at this point they will just kind of back off. They're doing exactly that. They're just laning up. They're just pushing these minions into the towers, wasting away the shots, and by then they're 3 short currently on the side of TMG Red. Now, in number 1 innovation, they have 34 gems stacked up here, so they just that's turned in for TMG Red if they can get to a point. Light God is going to go ahead and turn in a few himself, so they will just beat him this 12 in. And I wouldn't be, maybe he would rotate. Nope, they're going to just keep him down into bottom. I was wondering if they would maybe potentially go for a gank if they go for that turn-in point, but it's not going to be happening. And actually, at the same time, they're still just going to continue to do this laning phase. And I'm wondering if they're trying to... No, they're just going to go turn in now. Okay. I was wondering if they were going to maybe... Ooh, there's a little bit of a dive on the shade. Nope, they go right back up into the top. ETC going to zone this out a little bit here. It's going to be 40 out of 50 gems turned in. And I really like what they're doing here because of the fact that I think they're purposely delaying this out and they're trying to get the towers out of shots. TMG Red... I talk about these rotations all the time in scrimcasts that I do and stuff like that, and I basically just say, like, you either do it right or you do it wrong, and TMG Red is putting on a showcase of how to do it right. They're not losing the experience. You can currently see them up in... Now, granted, they did get a kill early in the game, yes. Swanky taking quite a bit of damage out from that Cho'Gall bomb. Gonna get the whip disengaged from Ariel. Time just getting a little bit of damage put onto him as well, but gonna play safe near this Web Weaver. Currently, they do have the Greymane in that mid lane, cleaning that back up, but there's quite a bit of damage coming out here, and actually, we will have Uther finishing his level 1 talent already, just 4 minutes into the game. Currently, have the Web Weaver pushing into this top, and this, I like this. This is a strong play on the side of TMG Red. They're gonna dive in here. It looks like number 1 innovation will just kind of just play this safe behind the gate. This Cho'Gall will start to explode as we get throughout this game a little bit further and further. Actually, time taking quite a bit of damage, but gonna get the vault out in time now. Cho'Gall taking quite a bit, but time is gonna end up getting shot by the side tower, not getting those shots pulled over. And with 400 health, he actually starts to chase a few of the members. ETC getting a couple auto attacks off. Gonna get that power slide back onto him, but the self-healing, this is what I was talking about. Cho'Gall can fight, but Sonya rotated up from the bottom, got the poison spear onto him, and they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna zone away these gems first. Now, at the same time, Rhaegar Almond has 28 gems. Greymane has 13. So TMG Red either need to get a kill or just kind of zone extremely well here. At the same time, they're quite close themselves. They're about 12 away. So realistically, number 1 just needs a turn in, and TMG needs a couple of rotations here. So this could potentially throw them off. The turn-in might go in favor of number 1 innovation because of the fact that they don't have to do these rotations. They can go straight over here. It will... Oh, no, they get the vision out. Kairos is gonna get a little bit of damage. Cho'Gall getting a buttload of damage out onto time, but unfortunately, the cleanse is there. The whip does not get any more damage out. If there was no cleanse there, I definitely think that Cho'Gall would be in a little bit more of a worrisome situation. Now, we do currently have a little bit of a chase onto Light God here. Ariel was making a little bit of a rotation. Vala currently coming down as well. Going to kind of help out with this push. Now, they do have 57 gems on the side of TMG Red, but 63. Not to mention, they already have 12 turned in. It looks like Rhaegar will get 33 of those in, so 45 are going to be put into the bank, but it looks like Swanky should be able to turn this in and get the next Web Weaver phase. So back-to-back for TMG Red. They're going to be pushing into... Oops, I apologize for that. They're going to be pushing into this mid-wave with the majority of their team, it looks like, at this point. Now, 10s are achieved on the side of TMG Red, or have been at least. And they're they're prioritizing the boss wave. Okay, so they're going to make sure that the boss lane is going to be the most pushed up lane, so that if they do go for that boss push at any point, it's going to be going onto a keep. And actually, this Web Weaver will be pushing onto a keep as well. 10s haven't been achieved, still on the side of number 1. And without the 10s, they definitely don't want to be taking this engagement, so they have to play safe here. But this is only giving more and more experience towards TMG Red's overall bank. Number one, they need like 2 minion waves. If they can just get a little bit, of damage out into this minion wave. Okay, so they get 10s. We currently have the upheaval from Cho'Gall, Ancestral from Rhaegar, Shadowstalk from the Tyrande. What do we get? We have the Twisting Nether, and then Greymane. Does it go for the Throat or Curse Bullet? The upheaval does not connect, unfortunately. So that's going to be a 60-second cooldown burn. Now, we currently have Greymane, Cease Swayed, but as well as Time. The rest of the team is there also, so they just play it safe here. They don't go in for any sort of too deep of an aggressive move. Still holding that level 10 talent, though. I'm curious to see what he's going to be taking. We do have a little bit of they're just playing extremely safe here. 13's really close on the side of TMG Red. So it looks like number one innovation doesn't want to go too much onto this, but Shade's going to be able to get out of there. Do have a little bit of a chase here, but at the same time, number one innovation will go ahead and get the turn in. So with that, they are able to get a little bit more pressure into that top lane because this 4-man is... the majority of the teams are in bottom, so that's definitely going to be a lot in that lane. Vala gets the vault out in time, and power slide from ETC. The Mosh is there, but unfortunately the cleanse gets Cho'Gall out. Shadowstalk from the Tyrande is used. They actually utilize the Twisting Nether. They waited way too long, and they actually get the Crystal Aegis, so no damage went out onto Swanky there, but they currently have this Web Weaver pushing with them, so they're going to go ahead and actually run right behind this, make sure they're trying to get a little bit of value with this. Orb does go out, so they're going to get that damage onto Vala, taking so much. Almost half her health completely just being destroyed there. Now, the other thing we have to note is they've zoned and pulled the entire team, until now, of TMG Red into the bottom lane. So now this mid has been getting pushed out quite a bit. Top actually lost its entire gate. Sonya has gone up there to clear that out. But it looks like they do have the majority of the team. They should be going in at this point. Sonya is in the top lane. She's by herself. It's 5v4 and you have just about everything up. I definitely think they could have pressed the advantage there, I think. They didn't have 13s, but there was no Sonya. Now, she can make a quick rotation, and you'll see that leave. But at least you're pulling her off of that top lane, and you get a little bit more value with your Web Weaver. It's these very small things that you notice on the outside, looking in as a caster. But you have a little bit of engagement here. Huge upheaval from the Cho'Gall, but there's no Twisting Nether to follow up because it's out for another 3 seconds. There's the Crystal Aegis onto Ariel herself, but we actually have a few of the members diving away. The D-Shield does go out onto the Vala. They actually got the kill onto the Greymane. Twisting Nether is used, but it looks like they don't get any value from it because there's a complete disengage. And it looks like they get... Oh, Ezreal getting so low there with that extra bird. And it looks like they're kind of hungry for it. The orb does go out. They all spread away. Swanky, I think, did see that come out, so it lets a few of the members know just to kind of back off. They have enough... Ooh, they're one short for a turn-in at this point, so they just need to get a minion here. Swanky will be trying to turn this in. Cho'Gall trying to get that poke with the bomb. Tyrande just... They have so much delay at this point, and I absolutely love that because they give them time to get this camp. They're going to rotate their team up into this top lane, and it looks like they could potentially be going for... They have enough for a turn at this point. They get that. Now, do they dedicate their entire team to top again, or are they going to go mid? That's the question. They're going to prioritize the boss lane. 13s are okay, 13s are there. So it's even talent tiers, but about almost a 2-level difference. Upheaval actually onto 2 of the members. The Twisting Nether is still not up, though, this time. Huge mosh, but there's actually a cleanse out right away. Fire Team taking quite a bit of damage. He is not dying here. Now Uther will be falling, but Cho'Gall with 60-some odd health. I saw ETC will be falling here. Time will get dove on by Light God. The Ancestor Healing does connect. He stays in. He actually goes in on Shade. He actually goes for disengage. Excuse me. Goodness Cocktail does come out. And Cho'Gall, meanwhile, will clear out this Web Weaver. But the one thing we should know is that mid got pushed back so far from that last phase that they realistically didn't get too much with this. Now, granted, I was going to say, they do have to clear top, but that got cleared up so quickly that they can't even make a rotation to this mid. The disengage from the Ariel onto Cho'Gall. Time will get the vault forward and not taking too much damage. But with the ETC getting knocked out so early in that phasing, they really just had to kind of turn this around and just basically be like, you know what? This is kind of a give. Like, we got a little bit of value from this onto the keep, but unfortunately, this is just going to be kind of... They pushed up their lanes with these web weavers at this point. Now, Toronto's going to be going ahead and utilizing her bird, hitting 3 members there, getting a few more stacks onto her 41. Actually, gonna that cooldown reduction at this point from that 13 talent is going to lend a lot of value to her. Now, at the same time, we do have Cho'Gall on the top. Currently going to clear this out, so they do see that. Now they start to rotate onto this fort because the fact that Cho'Gall's up there, they know the majority of the threat is gone. They're going to get this fort. This should put them closer to 16s, if not on it. There it is exactly. So with that, they might even press this advantage. They get this fort. They do have the Bruiser Camp to kind of body a little bit of damage as well. Cho'Gall getting the bomb out. The upheaval connects onto the majority of the members, but they do have the Twilight Dream this time, getting back onto a few of the members, but the disengage from Ariel, they don't get the value. That's the 3rd time, and Light God left the game. There is going to be the pause, so we will go ahead and magically not show anything. I don't want to show minimap to anybody because it's just rude. What if someone's watching stream and they see it? So we're going to wait for them to come back in here. Looks like we do have a little bit of a DC here, so I'm just going to double check something really quick. Oh, no, I meant to go to here. Okay. Okay. So with that, we can take a little bit of a peek at some of these talents. Now, unfortunately, I can't show these to you guys because the crop that I have does show a little bit of the mini-map, so I just want to make sure that I'm fair for all the teams. It looks like one of the members of number 1 is going to be restarting their computer or game. He just said he's restarting, so we have a little bit of time here, so we'll just go ahead and utilize that to just take a peek at what we have here. Now, Sonya actually going into the life funnel at 13. And actually, Sonya went into Mercenary Lord at level 4. That's interesting to me. Merc camps aren't something that are really prioritized on this map. Now, granted, we did just literally see them push up with a Merc camp, but we saw it get annihilated right away. So I don't know. Merc camps, Mercenary Lord on this map, I don't think it's worth it because it doesn't apply to bosses. Friendly non-boss mercenaries. So I don't know if that was the intent. But that's really odd. Block was picked up as well instead of the war paint. Now Block, I can kind of see it because you are solo laning against the gray main. It's been working out. I just typically at level 4, the follow through is the extra damage off of the W. So you W auto attack. You can you're getting a lot more damage out. So because you can chain auto, slam auto, spin auto, and even then, just like slamming consistently, it just you're getting that auto attack, that extra damage on that auto attack afterwards. So it's just something that I'm just always like, this is a talent that it's like one of those things like if you don't take it, it hinders you way too much in my opinion. So, and I'm only harping because it's just one of those things like I have a lot of time right now, so I'm just gonna start just picking apart specific talents. So I have nothing against the player or anything. I'm just currently being a little picky on some of these talents just so I can eat up a little bit of this time while we have the member restarting. I believe, I'm assuming at this point it's gonna be the computer because they're not restart. But we'll see. We'll buy time. We have time. We can talk to Twitch chat. They can come say hi to us. But anything else? I'm just trying to take a peek here. Greymane is going to go into running wild at 13. Increases dark flank disengage. So I guess if you are in a chase or the disengage, that is pretty beneficial. But I absolutely love this. No, this is a really good matchup. Now on the side of TMG Red, I don't know what they're going to be doing here because they don't have enough for a turn-in. They have to defend realistically. I think that's the direction they need to go into to make sure that they can kind of stay not afloat, but keep the pressure on their side. That's the big thing. Okay, I'm just checking through stuff really quick. Oh, sorry. There's just a whole slew of things currently. Okay. Okay. He's rejoined queue now. Okay, so we are currently having one of the members load back in. And also, we'll just use this time to say, hi, welcome to my stream. You can always catch the VODs on YouTube. Or you can also always catch... I'm typing this bad. I don't know why I'm typing Twitch. I do that way too much every day. So you can go YouTube. I always put my VODs there within like 28 to 48 hours. I did like 3 today. I've got a couple from last night that I'm going to edit tomorrow morning. I just didn't have time today because it was just an absolute zoo at work. But definitely, and then whenever I go live, I usually try and tweet out my nightly schedule like midway through the day, or at least, a few hours before. So, if you do peruse Twitter around dinner time or something, it'll be in your feed. So to take a peek. Or if you're enjoying the stream, go ahead and hit that follow button. It'll let you know when I go live, because at this point, we are filling the stream schedule so much. And speaking of stream, starting on Sunday, I'm going to be putting myself through some sort of torture. My mod has this wonderful idea that I should play Alien Isolation, so that is what we're going to be starting October 1st at about 3:30 PST. We'll start playing Alien Isolation, so it'll be interesting. I've never played it, and I heard like all the crazy stuff about how the UI works and how it's like self-learning, so you never... Oh god, it's just going to be... I just know that my mod's going to be sitting in Twitch chat just absolutely laughing the entire time. But it looks like they potentially are back. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause break. And I did not set up my buttons right, but we are back into the game. Looks like the member has got back in. So we are getting going here. So... we actually have a potential boss rotation already. 16s are achieved. They're going to get the web weavers. So once they get this turn, they will see that the boss is still alive. And they also have the bird coming out here. Does connect onto the ETC. And do they make this rotation quick enough? That is going to be the question of the day. No, they go ahead and capture it over. The bird does go out. And so they go ahead and get this boss. Now... currently have this web weavers coming into the top lane, so it looks like this is the lane that they're going to let the boss just go right. Are they going to skip over the web weaver phase here? It looks like TMG Red wants to end. They're going to walk up with this boss. It's about 14 minutes. It's not the strongest thing in the world, but it is quite strong. The keep has taken quite a bit of damage. This boss is about three-quarter health. It will be moving on to the core. This looks like it is the potential for a core. The core end here. We currently have a dive in. There's the cleanse. Greymane will be dying. We still have the Ancestral was used onto Shogal, that's a little worrisome because they don't have that extra. They don't have that at this point. Now there's a huge Twilight Dream. They do have the upheaval still, I believe. No, they do not. So that will be going off. And actually doesn't connect on the end of the members now. Fire Team falling a little bit low, but Swanky getting a huge Maj on a couple of the members. Rhaegar will be falling there too. Vala. The Molten Block is out from Shogal, but they actually get the kill right away. This is the core currently falling. And with the Tyrande just alive, she might get the kill, but unfortunately this is going to be GG's, the first game going over to TMG Red. Well played. Alrighty, and welcome back again. It looks like during that time when we had the pause, they decided to end that game. So you saw the end of that core rush. I mean, that was absolutely phenomenal. And so this is what I was talking about in draft. The damage that can come up from Gaul is absolutely amazing. But the one thing we need to note here, that laning from Greymane was top notch. But here's the thing. He's laning. Like, I don't like putting Greymane in the solo lane anymore. Like, you look at these numbers and you're just like, but he could do so much more. Like, I don't think people, like, I don't think the intent of Greymane is to, like, draft him as a solo laner. Like, you want to put him in there. You want him diving on heroes. Now, granted, in the late game, he might not be in that solo lane. So, it's just, you know, there's a duality to the situation. So, either way, though, is a phenomenal game. Absolutely great. Now, once again, I'll just keep harping on it. Blizzard, because I know you watch all my streams with all the hundreds of viewers. Please, please, put questing at the end. Let me see how far people got in questing, because I'm curious, like, how far Tyrande got. But either way, phenomenal first game. We're going to go ahead and set up for our next one. We will be going into Infernal Shrines. Let's go ahead and set up that lobby. Get the lobby link out to the teams. We'll do number 1 versus TMG Red. Get that into the correct chat channel, because I consistently put it in the wrong one. I do it in the charity chat all the time. Tournament draft. We're going to do no match history. These are all swaps. And TMG picked this map, so that means Team 1 will get that. Swap. I'm trying to remember everyone's, like, team by heart at this point. I think this is correct. Yes, this is... I think we got this. You get headed. Okay. If everyone's ready, we're going to go right into this next game. I'd be excited for it. All right. I'm just going to ask everyone if they are ready. They might be discussing, you know, what they want to take. Nope, both teams are going to go ahead and say that they're ready. Make sure I'm set to referee. Make sure that everyone, the drafters are all right. We're going to give a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. And let's head into our final matchup of this evening. Infernal Shrines. I've seen this map a lot lately. I've been casting this map so much. And there's nothing wrong with that. I absolutely love it. There are so many interesting drafts that come out of here. I mean, we often see a lot of crazy stuff, realistically. I mean, Cho'Gall's an option. Chromie's an option. Stukov's an option. Kerrigan we see here. We see a lot of Sonya, a lot of Dahaka. Garrosh first ban, though. Oh. Come on. Quality stream things. There we go. Now everyone knows. My apologies. But Garrosh first ban from... Number 1 innovation, they do not want to go up against this Garrosh. They do not like it. What are they going to be doing first ban on the side of TMG Red? Do they ban the Cho'Gall? It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was just still a nuisance, and he's strong here. I mean, this is exactly the argument that I make for Chromie, that I make for Cho'Gall. He works in maps where you have to fight someone over a point. It's just it's a very strong suit for him. So do they end up going for not so much just banning it out so that it's just not something they have to deal with, or do they just allow it through they just counter it and they go ahead and they ban out the Tassadar? They do not want to have him on the shrines. They do not want to have him for the wave clear. They don't want to have him for that auto attack. It just all that kind of stuff. First pick ETC though. First pick ETC. This is interesting. We actually had first pick ETC from TMG Red last, so it looks like number one innovation will go ahead and take that away and just be like, you know what? We want it first. So what do they go into at this point? Do they reverse draft and go Rhaegar Greymane? Because realistically, if you swap out the Rhaegar for a Stukov, I think your composition starts out a little bit stronger. Plus, you take away the synergy that Stukov and ETC have together. Now, granted, if you do that, you're not going to have a cleanse currently. So they actually go for the Uther Dahaka. They're going to get their solo laner as well as their main healer. So do they go into the Stukov Greymane at this point, though? I personally think that's an extremely strong trio to start your draft off with. You can flex on your last couple spots as you go through here. Nope, but they're going to go ahead and pick up Vala Ariel and get that combination. They could also, at this point, still go into a Gul'dan as well. He pairs well into this this grouping, but a ranged attacker with, well, then they could honestly go into an Arthas on top of that. But we'll see. We have to go into the ban phase currently, and that's, okay, I can't even, Brightwing is going to be the ban.
You could give the best hugs.
Look at me now. Thank you so much, Look at Me Now, for the follow. I appreciate it. I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you. The one thing I just want to update this really quick. How close are we to 150? Oh, hey, we passed 150. Yay! We passed 150 follows. That's wonderful. Thank you to everybody. That's just like, that makes me feel warm inside that people did that. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the follow, man. But this ban here, so they took out Brightwing on the side of TMG Red. Number one innovation. What did they go? Ooh, not a bad ban. They don't have their main damage at this point. Greymane is really good on the shrines, and it looks like they're not going to go for it themselves, so they just ban it out. And the other factor that you have to consider, too, is Uther putting D-Shield onto Greymane can be, I guess the wording would be terrifying. Greymane diving into the backline is going to be something that is definitely terrifying. And Ariel, I don't think, has anything to deal with it besides the Crystal Aegis. There's the whip for the disengage, but if he gets back there and he gets the blow up, then I'm very, very sorry for that person. But what else do we see coming out of these teams? Now, they picked up Uther, so they have their main healer. They have Dahaka, so that means they have the solo laner. They still need to pick up a tank and a main assassin. They could go mage-wise here, but I'm thinking, honestly, I think you go into the Diablo, and then you may... Ooh. Okay, so they're going to go into the Gul'dan for... They're going to Murden here. This isn't triple tank, is it? There's a possibility for it, but I doubt it. I feel like it might be a pseudo-support. If not... Maybe even an Alarak would be pretty good. I actually really like the Alarak here on the side of TMG Red. I think it would round out their composition quite well. The silence would be really useful. The telekinesis silence would be really good for them. But we'll see. We will see. On the left-hand side, though, number one innovation... They don't have their solo laner, so they're going to need to consider that. Maltheo will be the pickup, and Lucio is going to be their secondary support, I guess. Arya would be their main. I'm not sure, but either way, they're going to get a second support, fill in that slot, and that is going to be the composition for number one innovation. That's interesting. I honestly think that TMG Red... Double healer, double tank... And I say like tank. Hypercarry Gul'dan. Okay, we saw a hypercarry out of TMG Red last game. It looks like they're going to be going for this once again. I mean, they have the heals for it. The Innervate from Malfurion is going to pair well with the Gul'dan. I actually really like that combination. The way I always look at draft is I I don't know, like I always try and think of like, you know, like what's the best way to like optimize it. And like, yeah, like there are really good choices for, you know, damage, but there's also good choices for healing. We're going to get going into this game though. This is going to be our last game of the evening. We're going to have the number one in innovation on the left-hand side with Chrissy on ETC, Black Bandits on Vala, Light God on Malthael, Kairos on Lucio, and Amin on Ariel. On the right-hand side, we're going to have TMG Red with Time on Gul'dan, Fire Team on Uther, Ezreal on Malfurion, Shade on Dahaka, and Swanky on Muradin. Alrighty, we are going to be loading into this game. Now, what are we going to be picking up? Currently have actually moved together for Lucio. There's like two talents at one that kind of look the same. Like the other one has like I think it's just like tilted a little bit more, and there's some purple in there. I just always want to double check because I think it's like Rejuvenista, I believe is level 1 for him, and that's another often pick. But it looks like nothing too out of the ordinary from a few of these people. We're actually Gul'dan going into the Fell Flame build, so definitely going to be in that 4-man rotation between mid and bottom. And we're going to have the Dahaka probably going up against the Malthael, and Malthael should overall win that lane matchup. We'll see, though. We currently have everyone meeting up in mid. Gul'dan getting a little bit of corruption out of a few of the members here, but definitely able to stack up on those Fell Flames if he can get a few out. We do have the tongue out from Shade. Unfortunately, will not get a pick. Now, we do have a few of the members, just they're backing up at this point. They're playing extremely safe. Gul'dan just getting all those Fell Flames out, I believe. He's chunking through that actually quite quickly. 5 stacks it adds up quite quickly. But overall, we do have a 3-man rotation currently. We actually have the 2 tanks in mid just laning up against each other. Now, in bottom, do we have the rotations or are they going to stay down here? Because they're currently pushing up into the gate. And does not look like that. Black Bandit's taking a little bit of damage, but going to go ahead and back off. And it looks like we're going to have the... Swanky's going to get pushed back here by Chrissy and Kairos. Malthael going up against the Dahaka and top. But we currently have this bush. We're going to see if they make this rotation. Can they catch them out? That looks like they do pot. Oh. They catch it at the last second. They actually get the whip onto the Uther here. Chrissy coming through. Going to try and get a power slide onto Fire Team, taking quite a bit of damage. She will be the first kill of the game, and that's going to be going over to number 1 in innovation. Uther is still alive. Well, he just ended. We do currently have Malthael pushing up into Shade and top. So Light God definitely solo-laning up against Shade here with this Malthael quite efficiently. That will be the first shrine popping up, but it looks like a reverse bush party. They're going to go ahead and scout this out as well. And now a few of the members coming through here. There is the root from Malfurion. Do get the Fell Flame out, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and still... Are they going to give over the first Punisher? Looks like they're rotating their members up at this point. Okay. Now we do have Shade currently finishing up this lane, and it looks like Malthael, Light God, will start this shrine. Majority of the members currently rotating up. We actually have Swanky body blocking a little bit, slowing this rotation down. Shade getting a tongue onto Chrissy here. We do currently have Ezreal and Time getting up into the lane. There's a bit of damage coming out from Gul'dan at this point. Do have the root on to ETC. Will be able to get away. It looks like another Fell Flame will be coming out. Stun onto the Malthael. Retreat is called, actually. Now, meantime, no one has been really working on this. Malthael got a couple of these skeletal defenders that ended up going back into the lane. So it looks like actually they get the root on to Chrissy here. A bunch of damage going out. The whip does not connect onto Swanky for the disengage. But we actually have a tongue onto it. Looks like the Malthael here, Light God, taking quite a bit of damage from some of these members. It looks like they don't have the ability to follow that up. So they're going to have to back off here. And this shrine is going to go back over to number 1 in innovation. I think the positional advantage is they're just giving it over, but it looks like at this point we do have a dive in from TMG Red. ETC getting that knockback, which will put a few of the members away. Definitely, there's Gul'dan finishing his Fell Flame with not even 4 minutes. Just absolutely, just throwing those out consistently. And this is the Malfurion in the draft that's absolutely just helping out so much with those innovate for the cooldown on Fell Flames as well. But there's so much damage going on. None of the members of TMG are dying. They just don't get the kills onto him. Dahaka will be the first one to fall. Shade is falling here. Uther going to be the next one. And this looks like is going to be the first Punisher going over to #1 in innovation. And this will be an Arcane Punisher. So they could potentially get quite a bit of sieging with this. Now, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Dahaka going to be going into that bottom lane. Mostly because of the fact that he has the wave clear. And that, okay, so it looks like he actually brush talked into mid, I believe. He will rotate into the bottom, though, get as much value. Because if he is in that opposite... No, he's going to stay in mid. I was thinking because the further you are away, it's just going to be easier to push that out. And for them to respond to it, it's going to be kind of hard. But it looks like he's just going to stay in that lane. Light God will be going down there. Malthael just laning up against him. Currently, this gate is being burned down by the Arcane Punisher, but it is kind of early, so it doesn't get a huge amount of value. Now, 7s have also been achieved on the side of #1 innovation, so they do kind of have a little bit of an advantage, but at the same time, they do get that pushback. Now, ETC currently in this bush. Just going to kind of slow them down on these rotations. Vala getting the Hungering Arrow out, but it does not connect. And actually, Valo, just side note, went into Caltrops. That's so interesting. That's... The builds that are coming out of Vala, I mean, typically in the past, I've always seen it was, that hot pursuit build, or it was the Hungering Arrow. And, there are alterations you can make, but I never see a Caltrop start. That's so interesting. Black Bandit's getting quite a bit of damage put onto him. ETC will slide through, but the retreat is out, and it looks like a few of these members will be backing off here, rotating into the mid lane just to kind of get that soak in. I don't think they really want to fight #1 in innovation, because at this point, a lot of these fights have been going over to them. And Ezreal getting a little bit potentially caught out, but Kairos taking quite a bit of damage. Malthael in the top lane, by the way, just going to be falling. So that is Dahaka getting Shade. Well, Shade being thrown onto Malthael. That's actually kind of funny. Shade is actually thrown onto Light God. Dahaka player Shade and Light God being Malthael. But either way, that will be a little bit of an advantage for the Dahaka, able to kind of push up that lane a little bit more. Lucio rotating up there, so once he shows, I would expect to see a little bit more of an aggressive posture from TMG Red here. Kairos getting a little bit of out, just making sure that they're not losing out on the experience, and it looks like Swanky will posture up in this boss. Ezreal kind of... just keeping time in between, and they actually get the whip, but I don't know, do they provide the vision if it doesn't connect? This is going to be a mid lane shrine currently. Black Bandit's trying to get a little bit of damage out onto this mini wave as it's pressuring up. Swanky going to rotate down here, help out the team get this camp at least zoned for them. Meanwhile, in mid, ETC has been pushing up this lane, so that we'll just get a few shots taken out. It's a little bit of an advantage over time. Swanky just getting that dive out just to save one more shot. And it looks like we do have this camp being picked up. And the one thing I want to note, the scaling for this camp, I think it honestly helped them a little bit. I think they become more of a threat as these games go on. The 50% increase to their damage is interesting to me. I'm glad that they did it. Like it works. Now at the same time, there is the 10 advantage on the side of #1 innovation. Now, do they take advantage of this advantage? 10s also have been achieved, so they do have a limited window here. They can potentially, they get the knockback on the Swanky before he gets the jump out. Light God getting so much damage out. The Horrify is there, but unfortunately there is a mosh on the two of the members. Malthael, Light God getting so much value with this Tormented Souls. They get the kill onto the Malfurion. They get the chase back onto Fire Team, and it looks like they get the kill onto him as well. Now this Shrine is definitely going to be converted over in favor of #1 in innovation. Unfortunately, without their two healers, they're not going to be able to continue. Oh, can I show talents? Oh, I apologize that it wasn't showing. I try and turn it off like every so often whenever there is a little bit of a fight, just to make sure we see all of it. But I'll just, what I'll do is I'll just leave it up for the game. I won't pull it down. I'll swap between the damage numbers though, just so that everyone can actually take a peek at those. And before we have the Punisher, let's go ahead and take a peek at those. Some of those numbers. Vala getting an extreme amount of damage out here, but Gul'dan not too far behind. Okay, so it looks like we do have a little bit of a press here. We do have the Punisher being baited over the wall. This is a frozen Punisher, but it is getting burned down quite quickly. They are going to try and pull between these two towers. So currently it is taking shots from 3 towers. This is the most optimal way to burn these things down, because of the fact that it will just get a little bit more damage out because you do have that extra shot from the tower. Now, they do pull it over closer to the keep gate. It will get burned down before it gets any value, and they potentially could save this fort. So much damage is coming out from the members. They really want this. The root is out to zone away Chrissy here, but there is the camp in the lane, so they need to make sure that they clear this out. Do they save the fort? Nope, they don't. So that will be the camp confirming that, and this is going to be... looks like they're going to go into bottom here to press this up, because this should be... technically it will be the next Punisher, but there is a, it's randomized still, so there is potential for it to be top lane, and there is like a minuscule chance that it could actually be mid lane, like twice in a row. There's like some small percentile chance that it can actually happen that way. Chrissy actually going to scout out Ezreal here. The root will go out. Do they actually have the follow-up? That's the question. Now, Murden jumping forward. They do get the stun onto him. A few of the members are kind of just working on this lane. Dahaka is here, able to maybe get a ton onto one of the members. The Horrify is actually out, pushing a few of the members into this bottom area. Now, Chrissy actually does have the power slide. There's also a Mosh available as well. All ultimates are available except for the Horrify here. Malthael utilizing the Tormented Souls, but unfortunately that is going to be a 100-second cooldown that he's going to have to wait through once again. And with that, I do believe the Shrine should be starting within the next 30 seconds or so here. Top lane did get this camp, so it is actually pushing up here. And this is the one thing to note. If this goes unattended, it will push to core. Malthael having to rotate up there at this point, and the hope being that it is in bottom lane, but it looks like they are going to dedicate a couple of the members just to kind of slow down this clear. If they can make sure, if they get the Malthael cat, and actually, see? It's randomized. It should, technically, by logic, it would be bottom, but they go ahead and they converge onto this Malthael, and he will be falling before this Shrine phase. Now, 13s, I think were achieved right before that, or at least that pushed them into it, but they're going to go ahead, clear up this fort, and it looks like at the same time, number 1 innovation will go ahead and push out this bottom lane, confirming the fort down here. They're actually going to go ahead and say, screw the Shrine, let's go to the gate and open that up a little bit, because this is some confidence. The plan here, I guess, is that if they do get the Punisher, they can push down this lane, and it will be going straight into a keep rather than onto just like a gate or anything. Now, at the same time, we do have this Bush from Chrissy, but the team was caught out a little bit behind, so they don't have the rotation quick enough, so they cannot get the jump onto TMG Red. A little bit of zoning. Urtzi will kind of skirt around that on his hover cycle. Looks like we actually have a Hearth from Dahaka. He probably will be going back to go ahead and clear out that bottom lane, making sure that he doesn't use the brush shot, because he will probably save that to come into this back line up here. Watch for him to be popping up over there. That's definitely where we will see him coming out of. And actually, do they give this over? Or are they just pushing back waves? What are we doing here? On the side of TMG Red, they've rotated a lot of their members out of position. Okay, so they pushed out mid. And out of position's wrong. And actually, they bring Dahaka up right away. They don't even utilize him for the clear fully. Now, he doesn't get the Crystal Aegis right away. The Break It Down is used as well. There's a huge Mosh that actually catches, I think, 1 or 2 members. Horrify is used as well, pulling a few of the members away. But they are starting to chase down TMG Red. Ezreal falling low. Swanky getting the jump, but he will be falling first in this engagement. And it looks like there's actually a silence out from Ezreal, which will start to pull some of the members away. But at the same time, they are low on mana, but they have just health, and they have a lot of push too. Now, the one thing I want to note here is that this is what I was talking about. Dahaka Hearth with full health, rotated into the bottom lane, didn't clear this, and then brush stalked into top. So unfortunately, they didn't get the clear, and that's currently, now granted, yes, there is decent push from the minion wave, and there are the tower shots, but this is just going to be something else that they need to deal with, and they are currently rotating a few members. This is the thing, like, you still have to pull some members into bottom lane while you're giving up a fort. Now, granted, this fort, I wouldn't be too surprised that this is just going to be kind of a give, and they're going to be defending the keep, yeah, because I see Burden just spinning in circles currently on the minimap. With this mini wave, this will also give them 16s, so they're going to have that as an advantage as they go into this next phase. Now, Punisher does have 86% health, but it is about a 13-minute Punisher. They will get the bait over the wall. They're going to pull it down over towards the well, just away from the enemy team. Do they take out the sidewall and go for the rush? That's the question of the day. Christie getting rooted there. They're just kind of slowing this down, but they are pulling the Punisher away from the team. One of the towers doing a little bit of damage to a few of the members. The jump is out once again from the Punisher. He is going to move over to this keep, and it looks like number one will be taking this keep. Yes. They get the keep, and it looks like they're going to make the disengage. This camp, though, was picked up at some point before the Punisher started walking down the lane. And excuse me, we currently have a chase on our hands in the top lane. I was going to talk about some of the laning here, but we have Malthea. Oh my god, there's a huge huge horrify, huge break it down. As well as the Tormented Souls, there's a mosh pit under two of the members, but the Twilight Dream will stop it. We just, oh my god, just everything is just being used just to make this engage, disengage happen. Shade pulling one of the members, actually going to get Crystal Aegis. They will have to move out of it. He does. He's down to about 600 health. He will fall with the Vala. They're going to trade out here. Malthea getting the kill onto Uther, and they are starting to actually chase them out of here, which is quite interesting because this is... Now, Uther, he does have Ghost Form, so now they're going to turn this around. Swanky falling extremely low, getting the jump over the wall. Gul'dan going to be dying here as well. Now, the question is, this is a lane with catapults currently coming up. Do they go ahead and they give over mid? Because it doesn't look like that'll be lost. They get this camp, and I think they're going to be pushing up a little bit more, at least creating top lane pressure so they can rotate into a few of the other lanes and just clean up, as well as just get their lanes pressuring the core of TMG Red. Number one innovation completely looking completely different in this game. Just wow. But at the same time, so they go ahead and they pick up this this camp over here. This hard camp, which will be pushing into the top lane with the catapults. They're going to be constantly needing to push this back, so that will be the job of Shade. Now, at the same time, they're going to go ahead and it looks like pick up this Bruiser camp, which will push into mid, and then I wouldn't be too surprised to see a rotation onto the Siege camp into bottom, which will be pushing up that lane as well, and then they can rotate into the Shrine. Number one innovation doing a really good job to just control the map. They still actually have their hard camp for the top lane, so they can also stagger that in as well. But at this point, we just currently have a lot of safe rotations being made by number one innovation, and they're just making sure that they pressure up the lanes and they don't go too far out and stagger deaths or anything before this next Shrine, because as we progress in this game, this 16, 17, 18-minute Punisher that's going to be coming up here, it's going to be getting more and more powerful. So if you lose over the first couple in the early game, yeah, that stinks. Do we get a tongue onto the... Oh, no, it was a whip disengage right away. Tongue does go out, but it does not connect onto any of the members. Now, but they have to know that they're on this camp. And it looks like they go ahead and they just start the Shrine over. Interesting. So they give over the camp. They don't go for the invade. Looks like all of the ultimates are currently available, so that's just one thing I want to note before we get into this engagement. The zoning grids are over at this point, so that we are going to have a little bit of invade from a few of these members. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a disrupt from ETC. It looks like he's just going to hold that mosh for now. At least the power slide mosh combo. And just everybody playing extremely safe here, because this is exactly what I was talking about. This could swing an entire game. Break it down is used, so it looks like they're going to utilize that for the engage at this point. The Brain of Vengeance out from the ball. They do get the Horrify as well, but the Tormented Souls is used at the same time. There's a huge Twilight Dream, but they just get the kill onto Lucio. Chasing after the Gul'dan, who does get the D-Shield onto him. A huge mosh onto three of the members. A bunch of damage is going to be going out, but unfortunately they don't get any kills during this time. There is the Ancestor. Oh my god. Malthea is going to be dying here to Dahaka. Vala will be getting the kill onto Malfurion there, and actually Uther will be getting killed by Vala as well. They're going to get the knockback onto Gul'dan. Time potentially will be dying here. Shade trying to get the pull for the disengage, but it looks like at this point they currently have mercenaries and catapults on their core. It looks like they're not sure what they're gonna go for here. Okay, they go for the Punisher. They let them clear. They don't actually lose any percent on their core, which is another thing that we have to consider in this equation. But at this point, it looks like we are going to have this next Punisher, fourth Punisher, I do believe, is going to be going over to number one innovation. I think they've honestly gotten every Punisher. Vala Caltrops OP? I think there's somebody, like, someone who's watching stream just like, no, never say that again. Never say that again, please. The one thing I want to note here, I actually think that Corruption Stacks might have been a little bit better than the Fell Flame. I'm not the biggest Gul'dan player in the world, and I'm not like the authority on it, but I just think that the value you would have gotten from Corruption would have been better in this late game situation. The poke that you could have done out, it would have been way better, especially with ETC standing still and a lot of members kind of like grouping up around him. You can actually see right here that a lot of members do stack on top of each other, so those Corruption Stacks would be a lot more beneficial. But they actually get this this other keep as well. And they get the full disengage, and they're going to be able to just walk away from this without a problem. And they can't really go too deep onto a few of the members here on the side of TMG Red because of the fact that they don't have 20s, so they want to play the safe. They don't want to stagger deaths, because if they do, that could be game ending, because a staggered death means that you can walk up some catapults, and they currently need to clear top and mid consistently. Now, the one thing we have not had this game once yet is a bottom lane Punisher, if I'm not mistaken. So that is where I just assume the next Punisher has to be. I don't think it's gonna bounce between top and mid. So we will see that in the next probably minute or so. We actually have Chrissy going a little bit far forward here, getting the knockback onto Shade. He does have the burrow, no ton of claws. Does he have the essence? He does, and it looks like he will be dying and getting thrown off the map actually. But the rest of the team is kind of rotating up. They do have 20s themselves. Redemption is for Uther. Okay, just making sure. Looks like we do have Rewind for Muradin. The extra Horrify for Gul'dan. Looks like Brush Tucker for the Dahaka. But at this point, teams are just playing really safe. I mean, Dahaka, yeah, died. So you can see it exactly here in this mid lane. They're just playing by the structures that they have. We actually get the blink in from ETC. Oh my god, the silence at the last second, the Horrify, just to make sure that the Malfurion doesn't die. Ezreal, oh my god. It's like slivers of health. Oh, absolutely. Great play from Team G Red to keep their member alive. Now, we do at this point currently have a core rush from #1 in innovation. I'm curious to see, does this get punished by TMG Red? They don't have their Dahaka, so technically they're fighting a man down, but they do have the core kind of blasting a few of these members back. You do actually have Light God coming over to the other side, but we do have a huge mosh from ETC, but the break it down is there as well. D-Shield is out onto a few of the members. They don't have Horrify for quite some time, I believe. Now we do have the core starting to fall and take a little bit of damage. We do have the tongue onto Malfiel. He's stunned Crystal Aegis as well. Chrissy's just body blocking a few of these members, making sure they can't get back into the core. This is the core taking quite a bit of damage, and do we see it falling? Yes, so that is going to be game number 2, going over to #1 in innovation. They will tie the series, each team getting a point. GG, well played.